Tonight, an urgent warning for Americans visiting Colombia after a string of deaths in tourist hotspots. The U.S. Embassy in Bogota urging travelers not to use dating apps in the country.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the U.S. Embassy in Colombia, the U.S. government, warning passport bros about the dangers of trying to date in Colombia. Now, the reason why I said passport bros is not to try and attack that group and those guys, but the problem is a lot of regular U.S. citizens are watching a video or two of passport bros, and they keep hearing about Colombia and the beautiful women and the low cost of living, and they go over there thinking that it's going to be a playground, and they let their guard down. They don't really use a lot of common sense, and then they wind up getting deleted, getting robbed, or in general, they just get put in a bad situation. Now, let's back up a little bit here. Shout out to Coach Greg Adams. Shout out to FedEx Fearless. I saw CGA did a video about this particular story, and I saw FedEx Fearless talk about his experience living in Colombia for 3 years and then coming back to the U.S. and the pros and cons of both. And I wanted to give my perspective on it. Now, to speak on the Passport Bros movement specifically, online, there are guys who say, we're going to leave the matrix, meaning the USA, and we're going to experience different countries. We're going to date. We're going to start businesses. We're going to do whatever we want to do. Now, I'm not here to hate on these guys. I'm not here to be the Johnson police at all. However, if you're going to experience the Passport Bros movement, if you're going to experience different cultures, different countries, you got to be ready. You got to be prepared. You can't just watch 1 or 2 videos and say, okay, I'm going to go over there. When you go to Colombia, do you speak any Spanish at all? Do you know where to avoid, where to target? Do you understand that you are going to be a target? Now, some are going to say, well, look, ABL, you talking about Colombia is dangerous. These second world, third world places are dangerous. But what about America? You go to Atlanta all the time. Atlanta is dangerous. Well, the danger is a little bit different, and let me explain. In Atlanta, I could pull out my iPhone and not worry about getting deleted right there on the spot from my iPhone. Now, if I go to Colombia, or if I go to other parts of the world, it might not be the same way. Pull up my iPhone out in a tourist hotspot might get me deleted. It might get me assaulted. Going on the dating app in America, you are probably not going to have the same experience as you would have in the third world, second world country. Now, you could get scammed in America for sure on a dating app. What'll happen is you think it's some beautiful woman on the other end of the line and y'all communicating. What'll happen a lot of times in America is that it'll be some Nigerian dude in a 200 square foot hovel in Lagos. Oh, my friend, click the button right here. It's that kind of thing going on. You're going to get scammed for money if you get scammed. You probably won't meet with somebody, have a date, and then get your drink roofied. That probably won't happen to you as a man here in America on these apps. But in Colombia, it can happen. In Colombia, in other parts of the world, you may go on a dating app, have a nice time, and the girl might come home with you. You wake up in the morning with no kidney in a pool full of ice. That can happen to you over there. So the danger is different. Yes, you have danger over here, but over there is different. So when you go to Colombia, Mexico, etc., if you go to a resort, you might want to stay right on the resort. When you go off the beaten path and do different things and go experience some of the nightlife, it could be dangerous. The locals are waiting on you. They got extreme poverty over there. Here you come as a gringo. You don't speak no Spanish. You got these clean white shoes on, which is a thing. I had a friend from Peru, and she was telling me that an obvious sign of a gringo is these sparkling white shoes. They don't really do that over there, South America, Europe. That's not really a thing. We are big fat targets. It's obvious. And the government's like, hey, man, 8 of you guys have been deleted, so be a little bit careful. Now, before I go any further, let's check out this news clip because they're going to get a little bit deeper into it. And of course, if you want to see this clip, as always, link will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Tonight, an urgent warning for Americans visiting Colombia after a string of deaths in tourist hotspots. The U.S. Embassy in Bogota urging travelers not to use dating apps in the country.
Now, let's pause for a minute. Now, they said these deaths are happening in tourist hotspots. Going back to the whole Atlanta, Georgia versus Medellin, Colombia comparison. In Atlanta, if I go to the tourist hotspot, I'm not worried about getting deleted for pulling my cell phone out. I'm not worried about getting my drink roofie and then wake up in the morning with no kidney. But over there, that's the thing, in the tourist places. In Atlanta, I know if I go to the hood, the non-tourist places, often they cut where nobody should really be for any reason, that I could be hurt. See, that's the difference in the level of danger. And Americans oftentimes take their American citizenship for granted. They think that the level of safety they have in America or security in America will go with them to Colombia. That's not the case. In America, you can have your firearm and protect yourself in a lot of situations. You can't have that in Colombia. You have no backup.
Writing in a security alert that criminals are using the sites to lure victims, with many U.S. citizens drugged, robbed, and even killed by their Colombian dates. Embassy officials confirming the deaths of at least 8 Americans traveling in Medellin, possibly linked to the apps.
I'm out of words to describe. I don't even know how I feel right now.
A situation all too familiar for the family of 50-year-old Tu Zhang.
Yeah, that was really sad story. Really, really sad story. He was very well known in his community in America and then went overseas hanging out. And then the unthinkable happened.
Artist and activist from Minnesota, who we first reported on last month. He had been traveling in Colombia in December when he called his brother out of the blue asking for money.
This time he was like, hey, do you have a couple of thousand? I was like, yeah, no problem. When do you want it? He said, I want it now. I'm in this bit of a situation here. I go, yeah, I can do that.
Zhang's family telling our Minneapolis affiliate soon after he stopped responding to their messages, he was found dead. A local prosecutor saying Zhang was kidnapped during a date and killed when he could not make the ransom payment, and that his body was found covered in stab wounds.
I was confused. To be honest with you, I don't know why, what the motive is.
The motive is because you got a foreigner. You on a dating app, and he got set up. That's all. He thought he was on a regular date, that everything was going well. And then once he may have gone back to her place or she comes back to his, the guys that she was with pop out, they kidnap him, they're torturing them, making them make phone calls, and that's how it goes. That kind of thing does not happen in the U.S. And if it does, y'all please give me some examples of it in the comments.
Zhang had visited Colombia in the past, posting photos and videos to social media as recently as October with an unidentified woman.
That appears to be a man, but we're not going to say nothing else about that.
My girl.
The embassy's alert indicated officials do not believe all 8 of the deaths are linked and said they've seen an increase in reports of incidents involving the use of online dating applications to lure victims, typically foreigners, for robbery by force or using sedatives to drug and rob individuals. Often the reports coming from major Colombian cities like Medellin, Cartagena, and Bogota. Murders of foreign visitors went up by 29% in the latter part of 2023 compared to the previous year, according to the embassy.
You know why that's happening is because there's a bigger rise of these guys going there. These guys are watching the Passport Bros content. They don't do their due diligence. They don't do their research. They're kind of amateurs at best going over there. And then they just do stuff without really understanding what's going on. They get on these dating apps and they don't really understand that there's going to be guys on there targeting you to rob you, delete you, whatever they can, because you're dealing with really impoverished places. Look at the environment. Look at the environment. We're not dealing with some type of, wealthy place. You're dealing with a narco state at best. So yeah, you're going to be a target, unfortunately.
And most of the victims were U.S. citizens. It's a popular destination for Americans who are big contributors to Colombia's tourism industry, making up nearly 30% of foreign travelers in the first half of last year. But behind that beauty, tragedy and unanswered questions for families like Zhang's, a case where no arrests have been announced, according to that local prosecutor. Loved ones are left to mourn from thousands of miles away.
And he'll draw everybody in. That's the type of people he is.
Okay. With that, Stephen Romo joins us. Stephen, so what kind of advice is the U.S. Embassy giving travelers? Because a lot of people travel to Colombia.
Yeah, a lot of people do, that's for sure. The advice actually applies to pretty much anywhere that you're dating when you find people online. A lot of it is if you meet a stranger, go to a public place. We hear that time and time again. Also, tell friends and family your plans, where you're going, details about the person, and even what app you used. This one, though, is more crime-oriented. They say don't resist physically if you are being robbed. They say people who do that, they are more likely to be killed. And also, importantly, in pretty much all situations, trust your instincts. If something feels off, just get away. But with all of these advisories and warnings out there, it might be a good idea just to put that phone down, stop swiping while you're visiting Colombia for a little while.
Good advice, Stephen Romo. All right.
Yeah, I mean, look, as I close, I want to say this. RIP to those who died over there, who got deleted in Colombia. But let it be a warning. You are not going to a playground, really. You're going to a real country with real people. And you're in a poor country, and you are a target. So when you're going on these apps, thinking that you're going to go over there and just find these beautiful women, understand that there is a criminal element that is going on. And even if you're not on an app and you meet a girl regularly in the street, this could be a working girl. This could be part of a criminal organization, and it could be the same thing happening. So just be careful, kind of understand where you are, do your research before you go somewhere. I'm not saying don't go, but if you're going to go, please be careful, do your research, and that's all I could really say about it. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what's happening here? Do you think the passport bros are to blame for this? Or is it guys that are just watching some content, hear a couple of things about Colombia, it's so great, and they go over there without really understanding where they are? Is it a combination of both, or is it something else? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. Guys are just not doing their research and not doing their due diligence, and they go over there and they find themselves in bad situations. Personally, I'm not really a fan of traveling to meet women. If you do, then, hey, man, that's your business. Knock yourself out. I'm not here to be the Johnson police at all, but please be careful. And that same advice could apply to everywhere in the world, but obviously certain places have different culture, different criminal elements, and you need to be prepared for that criminal element before you get to your destination. Very simple. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.